Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. Well, my next guest, Lisa Toner, has established a startup business which aims to improve children's and teenagers' confidence and resilience. Lisa, we'll be discussing your business ETTCH, but first I'd like to discuss your current role with HubSpot. What does this position entail?
So I am currently leading a team of marketers globally at HubSpot. They're all content marketers based out of Boston, so I'm a remote manager. And we are responsible for growing our free online learning platform, HubSpot Academy. And my team creates the education as well as promotes it across all of our available channels.
So for those of our listeners that may not be familiar with HubSpot, provide us with an insight into it.
HubSpot is a growth platform, meaning that we provide software for businesses that are growing and want software that hosts their website on it and does all of their marketing, sales, and customer services from it. So all of the front-end business activities, we have software for it.
And in relation to HubSpot Academy, HubSpot's e-learning platform, why was this created?
Well, at HubSpot, we really believe in education as the core of an inbound marketing strategy or an inbound business. Inbound meaning that you deliver value, and by delivering that value, you attract new customers and you keep your customers happy and driving more and more value from your product so that they stay with you longer and they refer more customers your way.
And how do you set about driving acquisition for the platform?
It starts with the content itself. So we really do a lot of research to find out what topics our customers and potential customers are really struggling with. We understand what their challenges are, what their goals are, and we create education that helps them solve those challenges. And we then make sure that we have a very good search engine optimization strategy so that when somebody goes to a search engine such as Google and they look for solutions to their problems, HubSpot Academy shows up with a course that will help them find the solution to those problems.
And what's working then for you from an acquisition perspective in terms of digital marketing?
Yeah, the top source, about 45% of all of our signups every month come from organic search, meaning that people are actually typing into Google what their problem is. We're coming up on the first page of the results. They're clicking through and they're signing up for HubSpot Academy.
And how difficult is it for you to gain that first place position on the first page of Google?
It is quite difficult. We have an advantage at HubSpot because we've been doing content marketing for so long now, 12 years. So our website does have a lot of authority in the space, but it doesn't mean that small businesses can't do it. We have a strategy that we're educating the market on called the topic cluster strategy, where through internal and external linking, you can start to gain that authority yourself. Even for ETTCH, I've started to do it and seen that I've gained a lot of traction with it. So small companies can do the same thing and start to search optimize all of their content and drive a ton of organic results, meaning they'll get more bang for their buck as well.
So what are the three areas that businesses should be focusing on?
First things first, it's always the persona. Understanding in depth who your persona or personas are that you're targeting. Not just the job title or the type of industry that they're in, but what their day-to-day looks like, even outside of work. What are their personal interests? By knowing all of these things, you'll start to create copy, whether it's for your landing pages, for your social media, for your advertising, any content that you create. The copy and the language and the messaging that you're using needs to appeal to your persona. Otherwise, it's just going to get lost. Another one would be to try and be more specific around that persona and what their needs are and how your product serves them. Because if you try to be everything to everyone, you're just going to get lost in the noise. You need to be everything to someone. And then the final one would be to really assess all of your channels. Where is your traffic and leads and customers coming from? How can you focus in on the ones that are driving the most impact? Because if you try to do everything, again, you're not going to do everything as well as it could be done. You're going to get lost in the noise and you're going to do everything kind of half-heartedly. Whereas if you really, really focus in on where you can have the most impact, that's where your time is best spent.
And Lisa, in addition to your role with HubSpot, you established your own business, ETTCH. Where did the idea for ETTCH come from?
It came to me a couple of years ago. I was volunteering for Childline. I was there for 3 years. And what I was really noticing on the calls was that no matter what the issue was, whether it was small or large, the children that had a really strong self-worth were more likely to want to get out of their situation because they felt like they deserved better. The children with a low self-esteem or low self-worth just thought, no, I don't deserve help, so, there's nothing I can do about this. So I really wanted to do something more proactive and educate children and help them understand how they can accept who they are, love who they are, and just grow with more self-confidence, because we do have an epidemic in Ireland at the moment and in the world with the crazy rising numbers of children with anxiety, depression, and even dying by suicide. And I feel very strongly that a lot of those cases could have been prevented with early education.
So what is ETTCH and what do you do?
ETTCH is an e-commerce company where we design and sell products that help children develop strong self-esteem, strong self-confidence. We have 3 products right now. One is a confidence journal with lots of illustrations and exercises to help children understand the basics of self-care, self-love, and self-confidence. We also have the ETTCH Confidence Kit, which is a box full of little tools and techniques to help them manage their emotions, understand themselves a little bit better. And then we also have a new product that we did in partnership with a local woman from a company called A Frame of Mind, which is a grievance kit. It's called the Happy Sad Memory Box, and that has tools and techniques as well for children who are experiencing a loss to better process their grief and to remember their loved one in a really healthy, positive way.
And Lisa, who has developed the content for ETTCH, and is it evidence-based?
Yes, so all of the concepts that we cover in our product are proven by science and child psychologists. For the first product was the Confidence Kit, so I worked with my supervisor at Childline to source those products to make sure that they were all going to be really positive and impactful for children. She's a clinical child psychologist, so that was all great. And then for the product for the Confidence Kit, I actually really wanted to make sure that I worked with small businesses and solopreneurs to support those people, and they were all either therapists or survivors of depression. They all had experience, and I knew that the products were really going to have the most positive impact on children's lives.
And on a practical level, how do these products relieve children's stress levels and build their self-confidence and resilience?
Well, resilience, I think, is the key there. There's a few messages that are prominent throughout all of the products, and one of them is that things are always going to happen in life, and we can only control our reactions to those. We can't control what happens to us. So that's a really strong message throughout the product that no matter what happens, whether it's a loss of a loved one or if it's that you're getting bullied or that, whatever happens, it's not happening to you, it's just happening. So it's about acceptance and knowing that you are perfect just the way that you are, and you have to embrace all of the things that make you you, because everybody's unique and everybody sees the world in a different way. There's a lot of messaging around perspective as well, and understanding that everybody sees things differently. What somebody thinks is beautiful, somebody else will think is not. So you have to forget about all of those external factors and just be true to who you are and be happy with who you are and live your own life the way that you want to live it.
And what testing did you do with these products prior to launching them?
We did a ton of testing, actually. We worked with we did some focus groups here in Dublin with different youth groups. We brought them through the products. We did feedback sessions. We did, of course, research on the science behind them and ran them through several child psychologists to make sure that we had their backing as well.
And in terms of gaining traction with the business, how have you set about creating brand awareness for ETTCH?
Brand awareness is the biggest thing right now, and because I'm doing this as a side business, it's my evenings and weekends where I'm spending the most time. So thankfully, the products themselves are quite remarkable, and they're driving a lot of referral business. So when someone hears about the product or they see the product themselves, they tell about 5 different people. So that's the primary driver for brand awareness right now. I also am trying to build up my blog and my social media presences. But right now, the focus for me is trying to find mass distribution channels. So I'm going through the schools, I'm going through child psychologists, and I'm sending out a sample my goal this year is to get a sample into every school in Ireland.
There's an old Chinese proverb that says, if you try to chase 2 rabbits, you're bound to catch none. On that basis, How are you juggling your business with working full-time in HubSpot?
It is definitely definitely challenging, and I think I'm still learning how to get the balance right. In the early days, I've been doing this just 2 years now. In the early days, I was definitely trying to do too much and chasing my tail a bit, and I think I was comparing myself in the very early days of business, never having built a business before, with other well-established companies. And it was a struggle, but it was the moment that I realized, I'm not playing at the same level of the game as well-established companies such as HubSpot. In fact, I'm not even probably playing the game. I'm still in the shop trying to pick out which game to play. So I really needed to just level set with myself and say, do I really need to publish to social media every single day? Do I really need a blog every week? Do I really need all of these things? Or do I just need to focus on my distribution channels? I have tons of ideas for new products as well, but I have to keep telling myself, no, one thing at a time, or maybe 5 things at a time, but really getting my distribution channels right first and then expanding the product line is probably the better way to manage having a full-time job as well as this and having a life on the side.
And what are your growth plans for ETTCH over the next number of years?
Growth plans for ETTCH, so figuring out these mass distribution channels. I want to expand the journal to get into the bookstores. I want to deliver a really solid workshop that changes lives, essentially. I want to grow it so that it is distributed even more internationally. Right now we're in 8 countries, but I want to grow that even further. I want to go into different languages. I want to expand the product line so that we have educational resources for the parents as well as the children, because I think a lot of that education needs to come from the parents as well to keep that positivity going and reinforcing those positive messages for the children. So huge growth plans, but I think the key will be for me to take it slow and have patience and let it grow at its own pace. For now, I've been really happy with the rate at which it's growing.
And finally, Lisa, HubSpot recently announced 450 new jobs, which signals the growth which the company has achieved. So do you plan to stay with HubSpot, or would you like to work on ETTCH on a full-time basis?
It's a great question. So when I first started at HubSpot, I was the 33rd employee. We're now reaching 800 and it'll be 1,200 by the end of next year, which is insane. It's been a wild journey and crazy experience for me. It's been amazing. Ultimately, though, I would like in a few years to be able to leave and be the CEO of ETTCH and grow that into a company that hires its own employees and hopefully sees similar accelerated growth at some point in the future.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Lisa Toner from ETTCH, and we wish Lisa every success with her business.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast.